Greetings, philosophers. Welcome to another episode of The Philosophy Zone, where we dive into the big ideas that have shaped how we think about the world. Today we're stepping into the mind of one of history's greatest philosophers, Immanuel Kant. His life and writings are a goldmine of insight, not just for scholars, but for anyone curious about what it means to be human, to know things, and to live a good life. So grab a coffee, settle in, and let's explore the world of Kant together. Immanuel Kant was born in 1724 in Königsberg, a small Prussian city that's now part of Russia. Picture a quiet, orderly place, not exactly the bustling heart of Europe, but a town where ideas could simmer. Kant lived his entire life there, never traveling more than 100 miles from home. That might sound limiting, but his mind roamed far and wide, reshaping philosophy in ways that still echo today. He was a man of routine. Legend has it his daily walks were so punctual. Neighbors set their clocks by him. But don't let that fool you into thinking he was dull. Kant's inner world was a revolution, and his ideas were anything but ordinary. Let's start with a bit about his life. Kant grew up in a modest family, the son of a saddler, with a deeply religious mother who influenced his early thinking. He wasn't born into wealth or privilege, but he had a sharp mind and a hunger for learning. By his 20s, he was studying at the University of Königsberg, diving into everything from mathematics to theology. He worked as a private tutor for years, scraping by, before landing a professorship in his 40s. It wasn't until his 50s that he published his most groundbreaking work, The Critique of Pure Reason. Imagine that, decades of quiet thinking before unleashing a book that changed philosophy forever. It's a reminder that big ideas often need time to brew. Now, Kant's philosophy can feel intimidating. His books are dense, and he's not exactly known for catchy one-liners. But at its core, his work is about asking questions we all wrestle with. How do we know what's true? What makes an action right or wrong? What's the point of being free? These aren't just abstract puzzles. They're questions that hit at the heart of how we live. So let's break down his big ideas in a way that feels real and relatable. First up, let's talk about The Critique of Pure Reason, published in 1781. This is Kant's masterpiece, and it's all about how we know things. Before Kant, philosophers were split into two camps. On one side, you had the rationalists who thought we could figure out the world through pure reason, like solving a math problem. On the other, you had the empiricists who said knowledge comes only from what we see, hear, and touch. Kant looked at both sides and said, "You're both half right, but you're missing something huge." His big idea? Our minds actively shape the world we experience. Think of it like this. Imagine you're wearing glasses with tinted lenses. Everything you see is colored by those lenses, but you don't notice them because they're always there. For Kant, our minds are like those glasses. We don't just passively take in the world. Our minds organize it using built-in tools like space, time, and causality. When you say a ball rolled down a hill, you don't just see random images. Your mind says, that's a ball, moving through space, caused by gravity. Without those mental tools, the world would be a chaotic blur. This was a game changer. Kant called it his Copernican revolution in philosophy, and here's why it matters. Before Kant, people assumed the world just is a certain way, and our job is to discover it. Kant flipped that. He said the world we know is partly constructed by our minds. We can't know things as they are outside our perception, just like you can't see the world without those tinted glasses. It's a humbling idea. It means there's a limit to what we can know, but it also makes our minds incredibly powerful. We're not just passive observers, we're active participants in creating our reality. Let's make this concrete. Think about a sunset. You see colors, feel awe, maybe snap a photo. But what's really happening? There's light, atmosphere, your eyes and your brain, piecing it all together. Kant's point is that the sunset you experience isn't just out there. It's shaped by how your mind processes it. That's not to say the world isn't real, but our access to it is filtered through our human perspective. This idea influences everything from science to art, to how we argue about what's true. Now let's shift gears to Kant's moral philosophy, because this is where he really speaks to our everyday lives. In his book, Groundwork of the Metaphysics of Morals, Kant tackles the question, what makes an action right? His answer is both simple and profound. It's not about consequences or feelings. It's about duty and reason. He came up with something called the categorical imperative, which is a fancy term for a universal rule to guide our actions. Here's how it works. Imagine you're deciding whether to lie to get out of trouble. Kant says, before you act, ask yourself, what if everyone did this? If lying became a universal habit, trust would collapse, and lying wouldn't even work anymore because no one would believe anyone. So for Kant, a good action is one you could rationally will to be a universal law. It's like a moral litmus test. If your choice only works because not everyone does it, it's probably wrong. Let's try another example. Say you're tempted to cut in line at a coffee shop. Kant would say, hold on. If everyone cut in line, the whole idea of a line would fall apart. The categorical imperative forces you to think beyond yourself and consider the bigger picture. It's not about what feels good or what gets you ahead. It's about what makes sense for everyone. This idea can feel strict, and Kant was no fan of bending rules. He famously argued that even lying to save someone's life might be wrong, because truthfulness is a foundation of morality. That's a tough pill to swallow, and plenty of people disagree with him there. But even if you don't buy every detail, his point is powerful. Morality isn't just about what works for you. It's about principles that hold up for everyone, everywhere. Kant also cared deeply about freedom. For him, being free isn't just doing whatever you want. It's about using your reason to make choices that align with universal principles. This ties back to his moral philosophy. When you act out of duty, not impulse or pressure, you're truly free. It's a kind of inner freedom, not just freedom from external rules. Think about it. If you're always chasing desires or dodging consequences, are you really in control? Kant says real freedom comes from reasoning your way to what's right. Let's zoom out for a moment and think about why Kant matters for us today. His ideas about knowledge shape how we approach science and truth. When scientists design experiments, they're working within the limits of human perception that Kant described. His moral philosophy is a guide for thinking about ethics in a complicated and messy world. His emphasis on reason and universal principles pushes us to rise above selfish impulses and think about the common good. But Kant isn't just a lofty thinker for academics. His ideas can hit home in small ways. When you're deciding whether to keep a promise, help a friend, or stand up for what's right, Kant's voice is there asking, what if everyone did this? Are you acting out of reason or just what's easy? It's a call to be deliberate, to take responsibility for your choices. Kant's life wasn't flashy. He didn't chase fame or fortune. He taught, wrote, and walked his daily route in Königsberg, thinking deeply about the world. Yet his ideas sparked a revolution. They challenged people to see themselves not just as individuals, but as part of a shared human project, bound by reason and morality. By the time he died in 1804, still in his beloved Königsberg, he'd left a legacy that philosophers, scientists, and everyday people still grapple with. So what can we take from Kant? Maybe it's this. Our minds shape the world we see, so use them wisely. Our actions shape the world we live in, so choose them carefully. And our freedom comes from reasoning our way to what's right, not just what feels good. Kant's philosophy isn't about easy answers. It's about asking hard questions and living with integrity. That's all for today's episode of The Philosophy Zone. I hope Kant's ideas have sparked something in you, maybe a new way of seeing the world or a question to chew on. Next time, we'll dive into another thinker who shaped our understanding of life. Until then, keep thinking, keep questioning, and we'll see you back here soon.